So, I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but that's because I was trying to wrap my brain around why Disney has taken the stance that they have, which I honestly have not truly been able to do so far. Some time ago, a whole slew of YouTubers and creators covered the topic of Star Wars being abused by EA. The genesis for this topic was the cancellation of an open-world Star Wars game, which had been reformatted yet again by EA to meet certain fiscal deadlines, and looked to be pretty much gutted from a really cool concept and turned into a cash grab to coincide with the next generation of consoles. Well, jump forward to now, and it's been announced by EA at their earnings call that there will in fact be a Star Wars game out this year called Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this title specifically, but it will be the first Star Wars game produced under the EA umbrella that does not come from DICE within the entirety of their exclusive licensing agreement. So I would be lying if I claimed that didn't seem pretty cool, but also I would be deluding myself if I ignored the fact that it's EA. Anyways, the topic for today's video is Disney and how they are apparently happy with EA and have no issues with the exclusivity arrangement regarding the Star Wars IP. That exclusivity being that EA is the only one allowed to produce Star Wars games, where in the past many people were able to produce them. Now, to me, that is completely mind-blowing. I won't read the entire article or the entire earnings call, etc., but the basic summary is that Disney has tried its hand at self-publishing. They have bought and sold publishing companies themselves, development companies too, and gone through most, if not all, of the steps in the exploratory endeavor of video game publishing and that space. And they've decided that they aren't very good at it. Now, I agree, they are pretty terrible at it, but Disney's CEO goes on to say that they are happy with their partnership with EA and intend to simply focus on licensing and avoid actual development and publishing. Licensing being a more hands-off aspect of the games industry, which also requires far less capital investment in order to function and progress further. Disney acknowledges the size of the gaming industry, clearly understands its mass appeal, and is likely fully cognitive of the unbelievable potential of their Star Wars brand if developed properly by the right partnership, and yet they still claim to be fully satisfied with EA, and have no plans of making sweeping changes moving forward, it would seem. Here's why it took me this long to make the video. What in the fuck are they thinking? Star Wars, under EA specifically, has had one of the most controversial titles ever in the history of the gaming industry. EA screwed Star Wars up so badly that governments were like, whoa, 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 wait a second, hang on there, buddy guy, that's not even legal. On top of that, the upcoming Jedi Fallen Order game will only be the third Star Wars title they have ever even produced. Now, government intervention isn't something to rejoice about, it's just a point of reference for how badly EA has screwed up Star Wars. Like, that's undebatable at this point. Alongside this, Disney has also had their own fair share of debacles on the movie side of things, too. Sure, the new Star Wars films have hundreds of millions of dollars in special effects, so they look stunning, but Disney and the writers they employ are sacrificing the goddamn physics of the universe at times, and turning half the narrative into some sort of stab at political points and current outrage hashtags. But I digress, back on topic. There is no possible way that Disney is happy with EA's treatment of the Star Wars brand. It simply cannot be the case. The only explanation is that they have such a beefy contract that switching the exclusivity arrangement just isn't possible at this stage. So they don't want to create a further shitstorm by saying, yeah, we have our partner and they suck, but we're stuck with them. So they say, everything's great, we love EA, we're happy, when no one is in fact happy, everyone is sad. I've taken some jabs at Disney before, taken shots at EA, and it's low-hanging fruit. That's the truth of it. It's easy to say negative things about quite literally one of the most hated companies in the world, which is EA, and criticize the recent practices of a company that appears to have become morally bankrupt and ethically corrupt, that is Disney, and in the end, I have always had a realistic sense of the bottom line, that bottom line being income, quarterly gains, and financial benefit. Disney exists to make money. Blammo, welcome to capitalism. Same with EA. But the Star Wars licensing is seemingly a black hole in their decision making. Back when Disney first partnered with EA, it's not like they were some beacon of light in the industry, but they weren't literally hated more than probably any other publisher in existence. Except maybe Bethesda now because of how they continuously screw up Fallout 76, but whatever. So Disney partnered with a publisher that had resources, plenty of studios, and the ability to make some Star Wars games that would earn them money. Well, EA started to make some Star Wars games, sure, but they butchered everything so hard they not only killed their own brand appeal, but also made sure that even if they hit a home run and make a great Star Wars title in the future, there will still be millions of fans who say, "It's EA, no way in hell am I supporting that." Yeah, Disney, no, you're not happy about this. No one is happy about this. EA has been taking hits left, right, and center. Battlefield 5 didn't meet expectations, which rocked them one in their own quarterly earnings report. Share price took a 17-ish% hit after hours and is kind of coming back, but looking at the past 6 months, they've just been taking on water. Belgium banned their monetization of FIFA recently. More countries are on the way, some American states as well. And EA's response was, "We don't agree with Belgian authorities' interpretation of their own laws." Their own laws that they made. We don't think they are right about their own laws. We should be able to sell our loot boxes in their country. Like, what? What is that? What? Again, back on task. The only way this position exists is if Disney simply cannot extract the Star Wars brand from EA right now. It just isn't possible for some reason. And so they're making the best of their current situation. Now, as all of this goes down, a new game called Apex Legends has been sweeping Twitch by storm and already amassed a huge following in a matter of days. The game is from a developer called Respawn and reportedly has replaced Titanfall 3 at the moment. But in the EA earnings call, we learned that Respawn is also the developer for the new Star Wars game set to make its debut in 2019. And, yes, and, another Titanfall game of some kind. Though apparently not Titanfall 3 still, so I guess a spin-off or something. Across the entire EA portfolio, Respawn appears to be the only company doing anything worth giving a shit about, except maybe BioWare, depending on how you feel about Anthem. But Anthem to me just has so many red flags, it's hard to be excited. So anyways, Respawn is pumping out 3 games in 2019, one of which is finally a new Star Wars experience, and we are supposed to believe that these games will be finished, complete, polished, and have enough content? What? Apex Legends is thriving right now, but seriously needs some additional material. Modes, balancing, etc. And with 2 additional titles and then the upkeep on those titles, all from the same studio this year, I just don't even see a shred of hope that the new Star Wars title will get the resources it deserves and desperately needs. EA has an obsession with games as a service and the live service model in general nowadays. The new Star Wars title is a single-player, story-driven game, if my information is correct. It doesn't fit well within their hierarchy of priorities, and single-player, story-driven games really need to be good at launch and have a finished, well-crafted narrative. You can't launch a single-player game and say, "We will fix it later," or "We will finish it later," like what they are doing with Anthem and pretty much every damn multiplayer game nowadays. If you launch a single-player game and say, "We will fix it later," bam, that game is dead. Since Disney clearly isn't separating the Star Wars brand from EA anytime soon, we have to resign ourselves, we being Star Wars fans and gamers who would really love more games set in that universe, we must resign ourselves to having maybe a single-player Jedi game that's good, maybe, but that's pretty much it. And even if it's good, but doesn't meet EA's lofty fiscal benchmarks, it will get chopped off at the knees. Some publishers have a history of supporting games post-launch. I have my gripes with Ubisoft, but titles like The Division and Rainbow Six Siege display a clear pattern of lengthy support even when a title falls down hard during its first weeks and months. Granted, those are multiplayer games, yes, but it boils down to a basic level of resilience and a willingness to absorb short-term efforts when the payoff is much later down the line. That's not EA's model. EA sees a game do badly and then cans the developer, the title, puts the whole series on ice sometimes, or any number of things that are exactly the opposite of putting resources into fixing the game that is struggling. Disney feigning happiness with the EA Star Wars licensing agreement means that the hope we began to hallucinate on the horizon, that's on us though, speculating that they might strip away the license and set up for a lucrative and mutually beneficial future of game releases, well, that's gone. I can only hope we see some sort of change in the near-ish future, but it doesn't really seem likely. Alternatively, maybe Anthem surprises us. BioWare gets a nice attaboy because of it, gets the green light from EA to work on a Star Wars project, and simultaneously Respawn pumps out a beautiful single-player canon Star Wars experience that blows us all away. Unlikely, but I mean, we can dream. Anyways, that's about it for today. That earnings call was really hard to dissect. It felt like an obituary for the Star Wars gaming brand, if I'm being totally honest. That might be a bit of an over-exaggeration, though. Either way, it's just not what fans wanted or needed to hear. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, there are various links down below. We have our esports merchandise with custom name, gamer tag, and number, etc. Communities ranging from a Facebook group to a Discord server and our own gaming forums as well. There's some other stuff too, but I'll wrap it up there and I'll stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching and have a nice night.